So, hello guys, welcome to this tutorial where we'll be using the Tinkercad software to simulate a circuit with a push button and an Arduino. We'll integrate the push button with an LED also, and we'll learn some concepts regarding the serial monitor in an Arduino IDE with this software. Okay, we are on the Tinkercad dashboard. Go to circuits, create a new circuit. On the right panel, you can see the components. Click on components, Arduino. Here you can see the basic starter kits. There is already a starter kit for a push button, but we won't be using that today. We'll be building the circuit from scratch with only the Arduino and the breadboard. So take that and place it in the canvas. Okay, now uh, zoom it a little. Okay, this is fine. Alright, you can see that the 5-volt line is connected to this positive rail and the ground is connected to the negative rail. In a breadboard, this rail, all the points are common to this rail only. That is, they are connected horizontally, and this is same for these rails also. And for these rails, they are connected vertically. So any point on this rail is same as any other point on these also. Now we have to take the push button and place it on the breadboard. So click here, click on basic, select push button and place it on the middle. Okay, the basic circuitry of the I'll just place the basic circuitry for the push button initially, but then I'll explain it along with the code why we place the stuff that we are going to place now. First of all, we'll need the connection to the positive terminal. uh, the main intention of this circuit is to find that what will happen when we click the push button and what will happen when it is not clicked. So in any closed circuit, when we place a push button, when we click the push button, it will allow current to flow through it, and when we do not click it, the circuit is open. Now we'll place some wires connecting the 5 volt. We'll change it to red. And now here also we use a resistor, which I'll place this here, one end connecting to the negative and the other end connected to the rail adjacent to B. Okay, now I'll select another wire and connect this to the resistor and change that to black. Upon observing this, you can see that this is a circuit which will become closed when we click the push button, but now it's open because the push button is not closed. You can observe that the 5 volt goes to this rail. We take it to this end of the push button. Now the ground negative goes to the negative rail. We connect a resistor and then we take it to the other end of the push button. Now we need to know what happens when we click the push button and when we do not click it. So we need another wire coming from the same, usually it is taken from the same rail as that we connect the ground and the resistor to. We take a wire from any point here and connect it straight to the pin 8. It is not mandatory to be pin 8, you can select any other pin, but here I'm going to select pin 8 and connect it. Let this remain green. Now we need to take input from this pin to see what happens when a push button is clicked. So I'll just jump onto the code for simulation. Text, continue. Okay, I'm gonna remove all this initial stuff. Okay, first of all, we need this pin, digital pin, to be set as an input for taking value from the push button to see what happens when we click it. So we set this pin mode pin 8 as input, semicolon. Now we go on to the serial monitor. This is the serial monitor. You can see this. A serial monitor is actually a communication between the computer and the Arduino through the USB cable. through the USB cable. And to initiate that serial communication, we give serial dot begin 9600. Here 9600 is called the baud rate, which is actually the speed at which the data travels through the USB connection. Now we go here. Now we need to print what we get from this pin 8 onto the serial monitor. For that, first we have to read what is being transmitted through this line. The command for that is digital. Instead of digital write, we give digital read pin 8. Upon printing this value, we can see what we get when we push the push button and when we do not push it. Now to print this on the serial monitor, we give the command. I just place it down. We give the command serial dot print ln bracket, and we place this inside. Control X and Control V. That's it. Now we simulate. You can see that it's printing 0. Since we are not clicking the push button, it's showing 0, and it's going continuously. We cannot see that. You can try to scroll it up. You can see that it's going continuously. Now what will happen when we press the push button? Now place your mouse pointer here and then hold down the push button, and it changes to 1, which indicates that current is flowing. When we release the mouse, it's changing to 0. Now I'm going to explain why we use a resistor. In practical cases, when we do not use a resistor here, the value 0 and 1 will be changing non-uniformly. That is, without a resistor, when we are just placing this still in practical conditions, it will just show 0 and 1 randomly. So we need to pull down the resistor to a value, usually 0, so when we do not use the push button, when we are not pressing it. So we place a resistor of 10 kilo ohm, so that when we are not pushing the push button, it will pull down the value which we get through this pin 8 to 0, and when we click it, it is showing 1. Now this is the basic circuitry for the push button. Now we'll integrate an LED along with this. We click stop simulation. Now we need to take an LED, get the LED. We'll just place it on the pin 13 and ground. Just take it here and then place it here. We don't need a resistor along with this LED when we are connecting it to the pin 13, because in the Arduino Uno there is already a built-in LED and there is already a built-in resistor for protecting that LED. That will be used here. Okay, now we need to give the code to glow the LED when we push the push button. So take code. Now here we need to add the pin 13, pin mode, pin 13 as output. Okay, I'll just remove this serial monitor stuff because we don't need it now. Okay, or we'll just keep it here. And now we need to use a loop, so that when we push the push button, when the value is 1, the LED will glow. When the value is 0, the LED will not glow. So we have to put if digital read pin 8 equal to 1, then we give 2 curly braces, then we'll say that digital write pin 13 as high, so that the LED will glow. Now else when the push button is not pressed, we'll write digital write pin 13 as low. That is, it will not glow. Now we'll simulate this. Okay, the serial monitor is showing 0 because we are not pressing it. Now press and hold down. The LED is glowing. Release the press. The LED is fading off and it's off. Now press it again. It's showing 1 on the right side on the serial monitor and the LED is also glowing. Now release it again and the LED is off. There you go. This is just a simple concept using the push button and the LED, and some concepts about the serial monitor. You can use a serial monitor to take inputs from the user, that is a person, for any uh, programs you can make with this Arduino, and it can also be used to print out outputs like this. That is it for this tutorial. We'll be sharing videos with the actual hardware where we'll be making the connections in real life, so that if you're deciding to buy an Arduino and trying out all these things, you can use that as a reference.